Cut.
Four Downs with Rich.
Here we go.
First down.
Thank you so much. Here's my first down. I sent out a tweet to this effect that got liked about 50,000 times, and there was a lot of people discussing it, and I'm not bringing that up right now just because, for any other sake, other than the fact that it is somewhat of a hot topic. And part of it is 2 weeks into the NFL season, 2 Cam Newton performances into the NFL season, begs the question officially now for everyone, what we were wondering since the minute it sounded like Carolina was going to part ways with him and then did. We on this show were wondering, why in the world is no one signing Cam? Now the question is, how in the world did no one else sign Cam Newton? Now then, the responses I got to my tweet on that front were manyfold, where people were like, you know the answer, Rich. He's an African-American quarterback and teams are racist. You could make a case that clearly African-American quarterbacks in the NFL have a totally different set of circumstances they must meet in order to start. That is a fact. We know it. Once again, Blake Bortles is signed instead of Colin Kaepernick in Denver, and that's a large conversation. And part of it is absolutely political. We love John Elway here on this show. He's been on. I love this guy. He has been part of fundraisers with Mike Shanahan in the Colorado area for the President of the United States, who has been very vocal about Kaepernick for many years, although he has reversed his position, says that Colin should get a job now. Part of it is also Drew Lock is their guy, and you don't want to have a guy coming in who you've already challenging somebody who's already your choice at quarterback, who's in year 2. They are invested in Drew Lock. They don't want Kaepernick coming in and running like crazy. For political reasons, maybe. Sounds like it, feels like it, or for the fact that they don't want to complicate matters. So I just wanted to hit all that because you can also say it's not racism, clearly, when one of the teams that should have gone and gotten him, and we were pounding the table for weeks about it, is a team that is coached by a man of color who is starting a man of color, and Anthony Lynn and Tyrod Taylor, who I'm going to hit later on in the show as well, because get somebody in your life who loves you as much as Anthony Lynn loves Tyrod Taylor. We'll hit that later on. But I just wanted to touch upon some of the responses I'm seeing on Twitter about this being an issue of race. Jacksonville, I have no idea why they didn't want to go and get Cam Newton. Maybe Gardner Minshew's killing it down there. Maybe they believe in him, or we think they're tanking for Trevor. You want to tank for Trevor, Cam Newton's not your choice. Nope. And in Chicago, hey.
Trubisky.
They are so wrapped up in him because of the general manager there. Do you think he's going to bring in Cam? Hey, brought in Nick Foles in. I thought they should have still brought in Cam. You want to push Trubisky? And if you want to give him a shot, fine, but look who's standing right there. Because if you bring him in, Trubisky's never going to get another shot again if 2015 Cam shows up, which is also part of the issue why he was home, because during COVID-19, you can't really get somebody in for a physical. The NFL refused to allow people to go get a physical. There are ways around it, though.
And the guy's coming off 2 surgeries.
But
come on.
If the Chargers don't make the playoffs because the Patriots do, and if the Patriots go on to the Super Bowl in the AFC, blame the Chargers, Bears, and Jaguars, and whoever else needed a quarterback that you think needs a quarterback, because for some reason they let Cam sit at home and let Belichick call him up. The worst possible guy for a 2015 Cam to be placed in that hands if you're the rest of the league. How in the hell did that happen? And you're shrugging right over there because there, the Patriots were looking at the start of their season, post-Brady.
Stidham, dude.
With Jared Stidham.
Or Hoyer. Come on.
You wouldn't be 1-1 right now, I don't think. Or this close to being 2-0. With an absolute legit shot to run the table.
Yeah.
Because it's Belichick, it's McDaniels, and it's 2015 Cam showing up in 2020. 2 weeks in. That's first down. Let's move to second down right here.
Second down.
All right, we're all focused on Saquon Barkley's injury because Saquon is number 2 overall pick in everybody's fantasy draft after McCaffrey. And later on in the show, we've got Michael Fabiano calling us up to tell us about what to do on a waiver wire and all that stuff. And also, Saquon is on commercials, and Saquon is in New York City in a major media market, and he is just a dynamite human that is all over the place. But Nick Bosa's ACL injury is just as hurtful to the 49ers as Saquon's is to the Giants. And you can make a case it's even more hurtful. Because the Niners had Super Bowl aspirations, Giants didn't. And what Bosa means to that defensive line, and forget about the fact that Solomon Thomas also is out for the rest of the season due to the same injury. What he means to this defensive line, what he means to the defense, what he allows the rest of the defense to do, what he does may be the best of any defender in the NFL, which is why Defensive Player of the Year is all over the place for this guy. Could have won it last year even. That is a harmful, hurtful injury to the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm genuinely concerned for them for the rest of the year because of that injury. In the same way you think that the Giants season is done because of Saquon, can't say that about the 49ers because of how deep they are. But that injury is just as bad, just as harmful, just as hurtful, if not more so, to the 49ers than Saquon's is to the Giants. Let's get to third down right here.
Third down.
Okay. I said this yesterday. I said this I said last week that I would like to mulligan out of choosing this team to win the division. And I said yesterday that they're deeply in trouble, even though they weren't on our list of who's the team that's most in trouble, because there are other choices that we went with. But I'll tell you what, the Minnesota Vikings are in deep, deep trouble. Stephon Diggs is now suddenly Jared Allen's favorite receiver. 150 some odd yards for him. And boy, the Vikings sure looks like, did I say Jared Allen? I think I had Vikings on the brain. Josh Allen. Take a look at this offense right now. I mean, the Colts put the bang thing on Kirk Cousins. I'm not a passer rating guy, unless, of course, it fits my narrative. 15.9 passer rating for Kirk Cousins against the Indianapolis Colts. That is the 4th worst by any quarterback in the Super Bowl era.
Yikes.
The offensive line is not gelling yet. They're young. They're getting beat. Dalvin Cook can't get many yards going to take any pressure off of Cousins in the passing game. I mean, you know, they need help. They need help, considerable help defensively. And Dalvin Cook is the king of the solo shots down 8 runs in the 9th inning, to use the baseball phrase. He's scoring touchdowns when the game's out of reach. The Packers are already 2.5 games clear of them. Look at the schedule. They've got the Tennessee Titans this week. Then they're at Houston, at Seattle, home for Atlanta. Whew. Atlanta could put 50 up on this team. Or all they got to do is score 4 touchdowns. How are the Vikings going to catch them?
Yeah.
Then they got a bye week, visit to Green Bay again. Back end. Week 11, they're home for Dallas. And 2 more visits with the NFC South, at Tampa and at New Orleans in December. They're in deep, deep, deep trouble. And I avoided that Week 13 game because that's my 4th down here on the Rich Eisen Show.
4th down.
Okay. It's hot take time. And, of course, the plank has a mask because we're safe around here.
Yes, and we also want to get fined.
What do you got, Rich Eisen?
Okay, here we go. Here's my 4th down. How bad are the Vikings? How deep in trouble are the Minnesota Vikings? My apologies.
Are they?
My apologies to all my Vikings friends out there. Swardson and the handsome Josh Duhamel, who have been on this show. My buddy Pressman here locally. My apologies to you. My 4th down is this. The Vikings are in such deep trouble that when it's all said and done, The Jacksonville Jaguars will have a better record than the Minnesota Vikings in the 2020 season.
Ooh. I thought you were going to even go one step further.
And what is that?
Tank for Trevor. It's on. Trevor watch for Minnesota.
Well, look, that may be a conversation we're having later on. I think the Vikings are still good enough to win more than twice or three times because the Jets. Okay. I toyed with the idea of my hot take being the Jets go 0-16.
Oh, baby.
But I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
That would have been hot.
Literally, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Because at some point, they will get Le'Veon Bell back, and they will run him behind Mekhi Becton, who's nasty, and they might win a game or two.
That's true.
But in terms of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are more talented offensively than this Minnesota Vikings team right now.
Ooh.
They are. And look at that Week 13 game. They go to Minnesota, and they could beat Minnesota in the current state of affairs right now. They could do it.
Jacksonville has a hard schedule,
Jacksonville,
too.
Well, Jacksonville's got a schedule that is not that tough.
I mean, it's tough. Back end of the season, though, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Tennessee, those are all playoff teams.
Well, they've got their own division to deal with. I understand.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, Jacksonville can have a better record than the Minnesota Vikings right now. Gardner Minshew. Dude, Gardner, and again, I know there's difference between home and road this year. Even though there's no fans, there was fans in the stands, and it's tough to go on the road in a pandemic. I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
For a sport where everybody's so routinized and scheduled to have to go and do something that you've never done before. But Jacksonville ripped up Indianapolis, ripped him up. And Kirk Cousins, against the same defense, had the fourth worst passer rating in the Super Bowl era. They're in trouble.
Kirk Cousins also still on the hook for $35 million guaranteed next year.
That's my 4 downs right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.